Okay, to prevent. Why would you fit chains to your wheels? Normally in UK we do not have these, but in foreign countries they do that. I've never seen anyone fitting chains to their wheels. It's something like, see, like this. Why do they do that? So the vehicle does not skid in heavy snow. So to help prevent skidding in deep snow.
What can be damaged if you turn the steering wheel when the car is not moving? The gearbox, the engine, the brakes, the tires.
What can be damaged if you turn the steering wheel when the car is not moving? We got this question again. So the answer was the tires. And why the tires? Because you will rub the tires on the road. So that's the tires. Obviously tires are made of rubber, so you will damage the tires.
What circumstances require you to notify the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Agency, DVLA, when your vehicle needs an MOT certificate, when your health affects your driving, when you lend your vehicle to someone, when you have to work abroad?
When should you notify DVLA, or when should you update your vehicle registration certificate? They both the same question, okay? And the answer is, just remember three things in when answering this. One is your vehicle, second, home or house, third, your health. Just write down vehicle, health, and house, and I'll explain this question, guys, because this question got three answers. So just write down vehicle, house, and health. And what does that mean? So when you're changing your vehicle, buying or selling vehicle, you should let the DVLA know. Second, house. When you're moving your house or changing address, you should let them know. Third, your health. When your health affects your driving, you should let them know, even if that's eyesight, okay? So health, vehicle, and house. Health, vehicle, and house. In these three situations, you should notify DVLA, or you should update your vehicle registration certificate, okay? So when your health affects your driving, just write down vehicle, health, and house, and you will remember the answer.
You're driving on an open road in dry weather. What distance should you keep from the vehicle in front? A 2-second time gap. 1 car length. 2 car lengths. 2 meters. 6 feet 6 inches.
You're driving on an open road in dry weather. What distance should you keep from the vehicle in front? So if it's a dry weather, it's 2 seconds. If it's wet road, or if it's raining, it's 4 seconds. And what about when it's icy? When it's icy, how many seconds? When it's icy, it's 20 seconds, okay? When it's icy, it's 20 seconds. Not 10, 20 seconds. Not 10 seconds. Fog is 4 seconds. 20 seconds. Icy, 20 seconds. It's not 10 seconds. When it says 10, it says 10 times of the normal distance. What's the normal distance? It's 2 seconds. 10 times the normal distance, which means 10 multiplied by 2. That's why a lot of people get confused. When they ask you in seconds, it's 20 seconds. The answer we get in these apps, it says 10 times the normal distance. So the normal distance is 2 seconds. 10 times normal, so 10 multiplied by 2 is 20 seconds, okay? In second, it's 20 seconds, guys.
On a road where trams operate, which vehicles will be most at risk from the tram rails? Buses, cars, lorries, cycles.
On a road where trams operate, which vehicles will be most at risk from the tram rails? The answer is cycles. Why cycles? Because the cycle wheels can easily get stuck in there. Why cycles? Because cycle wheels can easily get stuck in the tram rails. If you look in here, you see that's tram rails. Cycle wheels can easily get stuck in here. So which vehicle will be most at risk from the tram rails? Cycles. Yes, exactly. Narrow wheels, exactly. Small wheels.
Why should you look carefully for motorcyclists and cyclists at junctions? They may want to turn into the side road. They are harder to see. They might not see you turn. They may slow down to let you turn.
Why should you look carefully for motorcyclists and cyclists at junction? Because they're smaller in size, and that's why they're harder to see. So they're harder to see.
What does this sign mean? Trams crossing ahead. No trams ahead. Oncoming trams. Trams only.
What does this sign mean? That's trams crossing ahead. Trams crossing ahead.
You're driving behind a heavy goods vehicle. What should you do if it signals left but steers to the right? Overtake on the right of it. Drive on keeping to the left. Hold your speed and sound your horn. Slow down and let the vehicle turn.
So if it's a vehicle with loaded with heavy goods and it's trying to overtake you, what should you do? And it's taking for it long to overtake you. Obviously, you should slow down and allow it to overtake. Oh no, this is a different question. You're driving behind a heavy goods vehicle. What should you do if it signals left but steer to the right? You see why the heavy goods vehicle will signal left and steer to the right? Because they need more space to turn around. Because they need more space to turn around. And what should we do in that situation? We should slow down and let the vehicle turn. Long vehicle and heavy goods vehicle would need more room to turn around, and that's why we should slow down and let the vehicle turn.
You're on a motorway. When can you use hazard warning lights? When a vehicle is following too closely. When you slow down quickly because of danger ahead. When you're being towed by another vehicle. When you're using the hard shoulder as a running lane.
You're on a motorway. When can you use hazard warning lights? When there is a hazard, that's when we use hazard warning lights. So when you slow down quickly because of danger ahead. When you slow down quickly because of danger ahead. And why would we use hazard warning lights? To let the traffic behind us know that there is a hazard ahead.
You're driving on a motorway and have to slow down suddenly due to a hazard ahead. How can you warn drivers behind of the hazard? Switch on your headlights. Switch on your hazard warning lights. Sound your horn. Flash your headlights.
See, same question again. So we use hazard warning lights to let the traffic behind us know that there is a hazard ahead. So switch on your hazard warning lights. Switch on your hazard warning lights.
What's the national speed limit for cars and motorcycles on a dual carriageway? 30 miles per hour, 60 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour, 70 miles per hour.
Okay, what's the national speed limit for cars and motorcycles on dual carriageway? Is there anyone that get confused about the speed limits, guys? Is there anyone that got issues with the speed limits? Katie, it's not 50, okay? It's 70. Is there anyone that needs help with the speed limits? Okay. Speed limits are very, very easy to remember, okay? So if it's a residential area, if it's a build-up area, the speed limit will be 30. If it's a build-up area, the speed limit will be 30 miles, okay? Unless it says on the road, that's a different thing. But normally it's 30 miles per hour, okay? So normally the speed limit on a road where there are houses or a residential area or a build-up area, the speed limit will be 30 miles per hour, okay? And then we have single carriageway, motorway and dual carriageway. Single carriageway, motorway and dual carriageway. The speed limit on a single carriageway is The speed limit on a single carriageway is 60 miles per hour. Single carriageway 60, and then motorway and dual carriageway is 70. It's very easy to remember, guys. Single carriageway is 60, motorway and dual carriageway is 70. Okay, and how would we know if the road is single carriageway, motorway or dual carriageway? How would we know? So if a road does not have any barrier in between, that will be single carriageway road. If a road does not have barrier in between, like in here, if you look in here, there is no barrier. There is no barrier. See, this is a single carriageway road. When there is a barrier like this, there is a barrier. That's not a single carriageway road, okay? So when there is no barrier in between, the speed limit will be 60 miles per hour. And then motorway and dual carriageway is 70. So single carriageway is 60, motorway and dual carriageway is 70. Just remember one thing. If they ask you about trailer or caravan, then what do? We minus 10. So if in the question they ask you that if you're towing a trailer or caravan, then you minus 10. So if they ask you about towing a trailer or caravan in a single carriageway, you minus 10 from 60. So that will be 50. And if they ask you about towing a trailer in motorway or dual carriageway, you minus 10 from 70. So it's very easy to remember, guys. Single carriageway 60, motorway and dual carriageway 70. Just remember caravan and trailer minus 10. So whichever the road they're asking, just minus 10. Okay, is that clear? Any question about the speed limits now? Okay, thank you, guys. Well done. So 70 miles per hour. Guys, could you please everyone share the live? And if any one of you did not follow me, please do follow, guys. If any one of you did not follow me yet, please do follow. Thank you.
What should you do to reduce the risk of your vehicle catching fire? Check out any strong smell of fuel. Use fuel additives. Avoid driving with a full tank of fuel. Keep water levels above maximum.
What should you do to reduce the risk of your vehicle catching fire? Obviously, if you smell any fuel, you should check your vehicle. Check out any strong smell of fuel. Maybe there is a leakage, or maybe you didn't tied the fuel cap properly, fuel tank cap properly. So check out any strong smell of fuel.
What does it mean if the signs at a bus lane show no times of operation? The lane is only in operation at peak times. The lane is in operation 24 hours a day. The lane is only in operation in daylight hours. The lane is not in operation.
What does it mean if the sign at a bus lane show no times of operation? So if there is no times of operation, it means it's operational 24 hours a day. So if there is no times, it means it's operational 24 hours a day. So the lane is in operation 24 hours a day.
What does this sign mean? Parking for trams only. Parking for buses only. Route for trams only. Route for buses only.
What does this sign mean? So anything inside this blue sign means that's a route for them. Anything inside the blue sign means that's a route for them. So if it's a cycle in here, that means route for a cyclist. If it's a pedestrian, that's a pedestrian route. So trams only. Route for trams only. Route for not parking. You see, if it's parking, it would say P there, okay? Parking always say P in there, okay? It wouldn't be like that. So route for trams only.
In which conditions will your overall stopping distance increase? In fog, at night, in the rain, in strong winds.
In which conditions your overall stopping distance will increase? This is also one of the most common questions that comes in the test as well. So in the rain. in the rain, your stopping distance will be, I think it will be doubled. In the rain, the stopping distance will be doubled. Okay, in the rain, the stopping distance will be doubled. Guys, could you please tap the screen so we get to 100k by the end of the test? I would really appreciate that.
What must you do if your ability to drive is impaired during a period of illness? See your doctor each time before you drive. Stop driving until you're fit to drive again. Take smaller doses of any medicines. Take all your medicines with you when you drive.
What must you do if your ability to drive is impaired during a period of illness? So if because of your illness you're not able to drive properly, what should you do? You should stop driving until you're fit to drive again. So you should stop driving until you're fit to drive again.
What should you do when you park a car facing downhill? Park close to the bumper of another car. Turn the steering wheel towards the curb. Park with two wheels on the curb. Turn the steering wheel away from the curb.
What should you do when you park a car facing downhill? See, the answer is turn the steering wheel towards the curb. That's the right answer. But do you know why this is the answer? Why would you turn the steering wheel towards the curb? So the curb work as a choke. So it will stop your vehicle from rolling in case it moves, like in here. So if you look in here, so if you're facing downhill, turn the wheels toward the curb to stop the car exactly. And if in the question it says facing uphill, then what do we do? Away from the curb. You see, facing uphill, away from the curb. Facing downhill, you see, towards the curb. Turn the steering towards the curb. Just remember, guys, if in the question it says what should you do when you park a car facing uphill, if instead of downhill it says uphill, then the answer would be turn the steering wheel away from the curb. Okay, if in the question it says facing uphill, then the answer will be turn the steering wheel away from the curb. So read the question properly before you go to the answers, guys.
You're carrying an 11-year-old child on the front seat of your car. They are under 1.35 meters, 4 feet 5 inches tall. What seat belt security must be in place? They must use an adult seat belt. They must use a suitable child restraint. They must be able to fasten their own seat belt. They must be able to see clearly out of the front window.
We got the same question again. So if you got a child, what should you use? You should use, they must use suitable child restraint. Not A. You see, they must use an adult seat belt. You can use adult seat belt in an emergency. You can use adult seat belt in an emergency. But if you have a suitable child restraint, you should use that. Okay, so they must use suitable child restraint.
At night, what does it mean if you see a pedestrian wearing reflective clothing and carrying a bright red light? You're approaching an organized walk. You're approaching roadworks. You're approaching a slow-moving vehicle. You're approaching a traffic danger spot.
At night, what does it mean if you see a pedestrian wearing reflective clothing and carrying a bright red light? You're approaching an organized walk. You're approaching an organized walk. So at the back of an organized walk, the person will have, or pedestrian will have, a bright red light at the back of an organized walk. And at the front of an organized walk, the pedestrian will have a white bright light. Okay, at the front they will have a white bright light, and at the back of an organized walk they will have a bright red light. Same as like cars. At the front of the car we have white lights, and at the back we got red lights. And same, an organized walk, The person will have a white bright light at the front, and at the back the person will have a bright red light.
You're carrying a child under 3 years old in your car. Which restraint is suitable for a child of this age? A child seat, an adult seat belt, an adult holding a child, an adult lap belt.
So under 3 years old, which restraint is suitable for a child of this age? A child seat, obviously. So a child seat will be the right answer.
When should tire pressures be checked? When tires are cold. After traveling at high speed. After any lengthy journey. When tires are hot.
When should tire pressure be checked? Okay, the answer is when tires are cold. Guys, do you know what does it mean when tires are cold? What does it mean when tires are cold? It means before you start driving, okay? When you drive, the tires gets hot itself. So before you start driving, that's when the tires will be cold, okay? Before you start driving, so when tires are cold. When tires are cold.
You're driving along a motorway and switch on adaptive cruise control. What are you now allowed to do? Remove your seatbelt. Use your handheld mobile phone. Check the road signs. Eat and drink.
So when you put your vehicle on adaptive cruise control, what are you allowed to do? The only same is like you're driving normally. So you are only allowed to check the road signs. You're only allowed to check the road signs.
How will a school crossing patrol signal you to stop? By displaying a red light. By displaying a stop sign. By giving you an arm signal. By pointing to children waiting to cross.
How will a school crossing patrol signal you to stop? By, I think some people call it lollipop lady. See, that's the one. By displaying a stop sign. By displaying a stop sign.
How will a heavy load on your roof rack affect your vehicle's handling? It will improve the road holding. It will reduce the stopping distance. It will make the steering lighter. It will reduce stability.
How will a heavy load on your roof rack affect your vehicle's handling? You see, this question got few answers, guys. This question got few answers. It will reduce stability. That's number one. Okay. It will reduce stability. That's one. And another answer for the same question is it will damage your tires. It will damage your tires. Please just write down these answers because this is also one of the most common questions in the test. It will damage your tire. It reduce stability. It will increase your stopping distance, and also it will increase your fuel consumption. So increase fuel consumption, increase stopping distance. It damages your tires, and also it will reduce stability. So that's 4 answers for the same question. So it will reduce stability.
Which sign means that pedestrians may be walking along the road?
Which sign means pedestrian may be walking along the road? Oh, well done, Hargeisa. Does anyone get confused in this sign? People walking along the road. Portabalin, no, that's a zebra crossing. Does anyone get confused in this sign? Anyone get confused in this sign? You see, it's very easy. In English, if someone is crossing the road, it's when someone is going from one side of the road to the other side of the road, we call it crossing. So when someone is going from one side of the road to the other side of the road, we call it they are crossing the road. So if you look in here, they are crossing the road. If you look in here, that's crossing the road. If you look in here, they are crossing the road. That's the only one that's not crossing the road. They're walking in the road. They're not crossing the road. They are walking in the road. They're walking along the road. And if you look in here, that's children crossing the road. Elderly people crossing the road. That's a zebra crossing. So when someone is going from one side of the road to the other side, that's called crossing. Okay, and that's the only one that's not crossing. And if you look at the question, it does not say crossing, so that's why that's the right answer. Is that clear? Who said the you were not sure? Yeah, Flora, you got it right now. See, that's crossing, that's crossing, that's crossing. That's the only one that's not crossing. They're walking in the road. They're walking along the road.
What shape are traffic signs giving orders?
So that's this is information. That's information. First one is information. Second one, that's orders. That's direction sign. See guys, this is direction sign, okay, and that's hazard sign. So that's, and also remember, you see the blue sign is also order sign as well. Okay, let me just show you another order sign. This is also an order sign. Okay, blue, that's also order sign. We got this question, that's one of the most common question that comes in the test, which is this one. What's the what messages are given by circular traffic sign that have a blue background? This is also, they give mandatory instructions. So if it's a blue sign, it's also order sign as well. So red circle or blue sign, they're both order sign.
What must you do if you come across roadworks that have a temporary speed limit displayed? Obey the limit but only during rush hour. Ignore the displayed limit. Use your own judgment. The limit is only advisory. Obey the speed limit.
What must you do if you come across roadworks that have a temporary speed limit? Obviously, we have to obey the speed limit. We should obey the speed limit. Obey the speed limit.
You're on a motorway. The hard shoulder is not being used as a running lane. When should you use the hard shoulder? When you're stopping in an emergency. When you're joining the motorway. When you're leaving the motorway. When you're stopping for a rest.
You're on a motorway, the hard shoulder is not being used as a running lane. When should you use the hard shoulder? Yeah, obviously, if you're stopping in an emergency, that's when we can use the hard shoulder. When you're stopping in an emergency.
What color are the reflective studs between the hard shoulder and the left-hand lane of a motorway? White, green, amber, red.
What color are the reflective studs between the hard shoulder and the left-hand lane of a motorway? You see, well, I explained this earlier. You see, motorway is red route. All of the motorway is a red route. We are not allowed to stop. That's why we have red studs in the left-hand side. So red. Who's saying A? Why a lot of you guys saying A? You see, in the left hand side, we explained this earlier, guys. You see, on the motorway, we have, you see, this is the hard shoulder. This is the hard shoulder on the motorway. And I told you guys, all of the motorway is red route. We are not allowed to stop on the motorway. All of the motorway is a no stopping road. So we have red studs in here. Okay. So between the left hand and the motorway, we have red studs. I explained that earlier, guys. So the answer will be red. Where do we see white studs? In between the lanes of the motorway. Green studs, slip road entrances. One second. Okay, so green, slip road entrances exits, amber next to the central reservation, red in the left hand side next to hard shoulder. I explained this earlier. I'll explain it at the end. So hard shoulder, that's red. If you guys if you're getting confused, I'll come back to it at the end. Okay.
Which sign means turn left ahead?
Which sign means turn left ahead? So this sign means keep to the left. This is keep to the left. This is pass either side to get to the same destination. That's turn left, and that's mini roundabout. So that's turn left ahead. Turn left ahead.
What must you have when you apply to renew your vehicle tax? A valid driving license, the handbook, the vehicle's chassis number, valid insurance.
What must you have when you apply to renew your vehicle tax? So first, guys, you should have MOT. Second, insurance. Third, road tax. So if you do not have a MOT, your insurance gets invalidated. And before you do your road tax, you should have insurance. Just remember, guys, MIR, MOT, insurance, road tax. MOT, insurance, road tax. So first, MOT. If you do not have MOT, your insurance gets invalidated. And if you do not have insurance, you can't have your road tax. So before you do your road tax, you should have your insurance. So valid insurance.
You're on a motorway. What should you do if there's a red cross showing on the signs above your lane only? Continue in that lane and look for further information. Pull onto the hard shoulder. Do not continue in that lane. Stop and wait for an instruction to proceed.
You're on a motorway. What should you do? If there is a red cross showing on the signs above your lane only. So if it's just on top of your lane only, what will you do? Not D. You see a lot of you thinking stop and wait for instructions to proceed. The question was, so if you're driving on motorway and there is a red cross above your lane only, which is, for example, if you're driving in this lane, if you're driving in this left hand lane and there is a cross on top of your lane, what should you do? You should not travel in this lane. You should move to other lane. You should not stop. You can't stop because there is cross above your lane only. You can use the other lanes. That's why the D answer is wrong. Okay, so stop and wait for instruction. That's a wrong answer. What should you do? Do not continue in that lane. Do not continue in that lane.
What's the first thing you must do if you have a collision while you're driving your car? Call the emergency services. Stop only if someone waves at you. Stop at the scene of the incident. Call your insurance company.
What's the first thing you must do if you have a collision while you're driving your car? See, when you're driving your car, some people get confused. They think call the emergency services, but in the question it says while you're driving your car. So when you're driving, can you use your phone? No. Why? Because you will put yourself in danger. First, you must stop. So first you stop and then you can call the emergency services. So first you do this, you stop, and second you call the emergency services. You can't call them first while you're driving, okay? See, a lot of people get confused in this. So when you're driving, you must stop first. So stop at the scene of the incident.
You're invited to a pub lunch. What should you do if you know that you'll have to drive in the evening? Have some milk before drinking alcohol. Eat a hot meal with your alcoholic drinks. Do not drink any alcohol at all. Avoid mixing your alcoholic drinks.
You're invited to a pub lunch. What should you do if you know that you will have to drive in the evening? Obviously, don't drink. Do not drink any alcohol at all. Do not drink any alcohol at all.
What advice should you give to a driver who has had a few alcoholic drinks at a party? Drive home carefully and slowly. Have a strong cup of coffee and then drive home. Go home by public transport. Wait a short while and then drive home.
What advice should you give to a driver who has had a few alcoholic drinks at a party? Obviously, don't drive. Do not drive. So go home by public transport. Go home by public transport.
What's the meaning of this sign? No entry. Waiting restrictions. National speed limit. School crossing patrol.
What's the meaning of this sign? See, remember guys, no entry sign is red and white, okay? No entry sign is red and white. This is no entry sign. No entry sign is red and white. I'm sorry, that's a wrong answer. No entry sign is red and white. This is waiting restrictions apply. No waiting or no parking. No waiting or no parking.
What color are the reflective studs between a motorway and a slip road? White, amber, red, green.
What color are the reflective studs between motorway and a slip road? So slip road through which we go inside the motorway and we go out of the motorway. So we go into the motorway and we go out of the motorway through green studs. We go into the motorway and we go out of the motorway through slip road, and that's where you will see green studs. Going into the motorway through slip road and we go out of the motorway through slip road, and that's where we see green studs. Same as like, you know, on a green traffic light we can only go on a green traffic light. So that's where we can only enter the motorway through green studs. When we entering the motorway, that's where you see green studs. So we go in and go out through green studs. So green.
You're in a one-way street and want to turn right. Where should you position your vehicle when there are two lanes? Just left of the center line. In the right-hand lane. In the left-hand lane. In either lane depending on the traffic.
You're in a one-way street and you want to turn right. Where should you position your vehicle when there are two lanes? Obviously, if you turn... No, you see, so if it's a single track... Sorry, if it's a one-way street... If it's a one-way street and you want to turn right, look in here. So if it's a one-way street and you want to turn right, if you look at the red car, see, got the right indicator on. So if you're turning right, you should be in the right hand lane. If you're turning left, you should be in the left hand lane. Okay, if you're turning right, be in the right hand lane. If you're turning left, be in the left hand lane. So if you're in a one-way street and you want to turn right, where should you position your vehicle when there are two lanes? In the right hand lane. In the right hand lane.
What should you do if your vehicle breaks down in a tunnel? Stay in your vehicle and wait for the police. Switch on hazard warning lights, then go and call for help. Stand in front of your vehicle to warn oncoming drivers. Stand in the lane behind your vehicle to warn others.
What should you do if your vehicle breaks down in a tunnel? If it catches fire, what do? You try to take it out of the tunnel if it catches fire. But if it's just broken down, what do? Just park in the left hand side and then go and call for help. And switch on, obviously, park in the left, turn on your hazard warning lights and then go and call for help. So switch on hazard warning lights, then go and call for help.
Why should you reduce your speed here? A staggered junction is ahead. A low bridge is ahead. The road surface changes ahead. The road narrows ahead.
Why should you reduce your speed here? What's this sign? This is staggered junction sign. That's a staggered junction sign. Staggered junction. So staggered junction is ahead.
You're turning right from a main road into a side road. There's no oncoming traffic. What should you do if pedestrians are standing on the pavement waiting to cross the side road? Wave at the pedestrians, inviting them to cross the road. Wait and give way to the pedestrians. Turn in because the pedestrians are safe on the pavement. Sound your horn to alert the pedestrians to your presence.
So if you're turning into a side road and you see pedestrian waiting to cross the road, what should you do? Obviously, you will allow them to cross the road. So you will wait and allow them to cross the road. So wait and give way to the pedestrian. wait and give way to the pedestrians.
What should you do if your anti-lock brakes, ABS, warning light stays on? Check the brake fluid level. Check the foot brake free play. Check that the parking brake is released. Have the brakes checked immediately.
What should you do if anti-lock brakes warning light stays on? If it stays on, what should you do? You should have the brakes checked immediately. If the ABS warning light stays on, you should check the brakes immediately.
You're driving in town. Why should you be careful if there's a bus at a bus stop on the other side of the road? The bus might remain stationary. Pedestrians might come from behind the bus. The bus might move off suddenly. The bus might have broken down.
You're driving in town. Why should you be careful if there is a bus at a bus stop on the other side of the road? So obviously people coming out of the bus or people running towards the bus to catch the bus, you have to be careful with them. Pedestrian might come from behind the bus. Pedestrian might come from behind the bus.
Who's legally responsible for ensuring that a vehicle registration certificate, V5C, is updated? The vehicle manufacturer, your insurance company, the registered vehicle keeper, the licensing authority.
Who is legally responsible for ensuring the vehicle registration certificate V5C is updated? The registered vehicle keeper. The registered vehicle keeper.
What should you do when a person herding sheep asks you to stop? Stop and switch off your engine. Ignore them as they have no authority. Try to get past quickly. Continue on but drive slowly.
If a person herding sheep asks you to stop, what should you do? Obviously you must stop. Stop and switch off your engine.
When may you drive over a pavement? When the pavement is very wide. To overtake slow-moving traffic. To gain access to a property. If there are no pedestrians nearby.
When may you drive over a pavement? The answer is to gain access to a property. Guys, do you understand what does it mean? To gain access to a property. So if you got parking outside your house, how would you bring the car from the road into your parking? Obviously you go over the pavement. So if you got parking outside your house and there is a parking outside your house, how would you bring your car from the road into your parking? Obviously you will go over the pavement. Sawal dade چې کله تاسو د پیومنت د پاسه ډرایوینګ کولی شئ کله چې تاسو خپل پراپرټۍ ته لار پیدا کوئ یا خپل کور ته لار پیدا کوئ نو چې کله هم لکه ستاسو د کور نه بیرون پارکینګ دی نو د سړک نه به تاسو خپل پارکینګ ته موټر څنګه راولئ خو حتما د پیومنت د پاسه به بوځئ تر څو کور ته ورسوئ to gain access to a property. And I explained that. So if you got parking outside your house, how would you gain access to that parking? So you will go over the pavement or you will go over the footpath.
What should you do when you're driving along a road that has a series of road humps? Vary your speed between each road hump. Stay at a reduced speed for the whole stretch of road. Set your car's cruise control. Brake firmly when you reach each road hump.
What should you do when you're driving along a road that has a series of road humps? So if a road got road humps, you should drive slowly on that road. So if you see a road that got road humps, you should drive at a reduced speed for the whole stretch of road. So as long as you're on that road, you should drive very slowly.
Why are vehicles fitted with rear fog lights? To make them more visible when driving at high speed. To show when they've broken down in a dangerous position. To make them more visible in thick fog. To warn drivers following closely to drop back.
Why are vehicles fitted with rear fog lights? See, rear fog lights, they're red and they're very bright. They are red and they're very bright. And when can we use it? When it's foggy. Or when visibility is seriously reduced, we use it so other drivers can see us more easily. To make them more visible in thick fog. So other drivers can see us more easily.
What do the white diagonal stripe markings in the middle of the road mean? It's an overtaking area for motorcyclists. No overtaking. You should not enter the area unless it's necessary and you can see it's safe. You must not enter the area unless it's an emergency.
What do the white diagonal stripe marking in the middle of the road mean? You see, why do we have this area, guys? Does anyone know why do we have this area? This is for traffic that's turning right, okay? This area is for traffic that's turning right. So if you see that vehicle coming, so if that vehicle had to turn right, they could have stopped in here to let the vehicle that's behind it overtake it. So this is for traffic that's turning right. So for example, if you were turning right in here into this road, you could have stopped in here to allow the traffic that's behind you overtake you in the left. Okay, so this is for traffic that's turning right. Okay, so the answer is you should not enter the area unless it's necessary and you can see it's safe. So if you were turning right, you could stop in here, but as long as you know that you're not putting yourself in danger or you're not putting others in danger, so you should not enter the area unless it's necessary and you can see it's safe. And you see why you must not enter the area unless it's in an emergency. Why this is the wrong answer? Guys, do you know why this is the wrong answer? Someone said D. Why this is the wrong answer? Because this is not red. You see, this is not red lines. Okay, so if these were red, just remember, if these were red lines, then the answer would have been you must not enter the area unless it's an emergency. Just remember that. So if it's red lines, then the answer is you must not enter the area unless it's in an emergency. You see, it's white lines. That's why we can enter there if we need to or if it's necessary. So you should not enter the area unless it's necessary and you can see it's safe.
Your vehicle has broken down on a motorway. What should you do if you're not able to get onto the hard shoulder? Attempt to repair your vehicle quickly. Stop the traffic behind and ask for help. Switch on your hazard warning lights. Stand behind your vehicle to warn others.
What your vehicle has broken down on a motorway. What should you do if you're not able to get onto the hard shoulder? If you can't get into the hard shoulder, you just stop wherever you are and switch on your hazard warning light. So well done, Adam. You got 48. Okay, guys. All right. Well.